Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of my dining table build. In this video, I figure out that I'm terrible at hand cutting mortises, but I am pretty good at hiding my mistakes. So this is the stretcher I had glued up last night, and all I've done off camera was take it out of the clamps and joint it and plane it so it is exactly 3 inches by 3 inches. So what we're going to do next is we're going to come back some distance here, and we're going to take our dado stack and we're actually going to cut it down a 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. All right, so I have marked the edge of my stretcher here to cut a 1/2 inch all the way around off. And then here I used my laser level to make reference marks here so that I could find the exact center of this piece as well as the other piece. And then from there I measured down 1 inch and over 1 inch. And this is going to be my bottom and left justification for the stretcher mortise. And so once I get everything cut out, or cut the 1/2 inch off on every side of the tenon, I will put it here and put it against these 2 lines, and then I'll actually mark the other 2 lines there so I know exactly where to chisel out. All right, I'm gonna use 2 different ways to cut a tenon. So the first side here, I'm gonna use the bandsaw. The other side, I'm gonna use the dado stack. Let's see what gets a better finish. All right, so I just ran a little experiment because I didn't know the answer. Which is the better way to cut a tenon? So I used the bandsaw first, and then I used the dado stack second. Let's talk about what happened. So the bandsaw is a much neater, cleaner finish. There's gonna be a lot less cleanup to do there. It was pretty accurate, and it was very fast. I would say it took maybe 1.5 minutes. The dado stack is a much rougher finish. There's gonna be a lot more cleanup. I would argue it's probably less accurate, and it took way longer. That probably took, I felt like almost 10 minutes, but it's probably closer to 5. So the answer to that question is bandsaw's better. All right, so I've got my tenons trimmed out, and then I've got my sides labeled. So this will be the blue side, that'll be the, we'll just call it shirts versus skins. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to set this down here and then trace it out and then start cutting out the tenon. All right, I've been whacking on this thing for a while, and over there I'm probably, I don't know, 5/8 of an inch down. Here, probably 1/2 inch. And this is just not an enjoyable experience, so I'm gonna do my best to speed this up. But before that, I wanted to check my test fit, and it's not great. And having never done this before, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a super tight fit, because, you know, I've got a 1/2 inch of wood that's gonna fill up around that here. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. All right, I have been battling this for a while, and I'm gonna show you all my screw-ups just because I'm learning. I'm not a professional. This is what I do as a hobby. So, you can see my mortise and tenon project is pretty lackluster. And I'm sure that several of you have seen many errors along the way, but I'm in here by myself figuring this out as I go. So the main issue is that it doesn't fit flush. So what I was gonna do is initially was going to drill a hole in here and run a pin through, and that was what was gonna pull the stretcher through and hold it tight. But I think what I'm gonna do now is cut some a rabbet, I guess, a channel in here, and then have a clip that goes around it like that. So it's still gonna look cool and it's gonna cover up my hiccups. So that's the plan, but I've gotta shave more of this tenon down, I guess. I don't wanna chop on the legs anymore. I'm gonna figure out a way to get this fit flush. And that'll be a job for the day because it's 9:30 and I'm tired. So a couple more days passed and I ended up just moving on to the other leg, and I used tape this time to kind of mark, and it worked out a lot better. Still not perfect, obviously, but much better tolerances here. Also, that rotten piece on the tenon is something I have yet to figure out how to fix. Also, open for suggestions. All right, so here's my bad side. Obviously, not good. Here's the good side. It came out a lot better. Still not perfect, but overall, very good. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is cut a rabbet here and a rabbet here, and then with some walnut, make like a clothespin type thing to kind of clip right there and hold this in place. This side's tight. It's not gonna slide out. The other side's pretty loose, but it will also kind of cover up my whoopsie there, so you won't see it at all. All right, here's my mark I made to kind of show where I'm gonna cut out with the dado stack. So this is just a piece of scrap walnut that I pulled off of the I'll use it one day shelf, and you know, planing it down to correct thickness and getting it to where it fits real nice in that slot that I just cut. Alright, so I used some masking tape here because I couldn't see anything with the white matte pencil trick that supposedly works, but you know, whatever. So this is just some masking tape, much higher visibility, and now I'm taking a Forstner bit and making a hole at the very top of where I want my cut to be, just so it's a little easier to work with, and then take it to the bandsaw, trim the middle piece out, and finally go back to the workbench and clean everything up with a chisel. Oh man, so satisfying when that fit together perfect the very first shot. I'll take that as an absolute win. Alrighty, the base is just about done. It's pearl. It's time to break it all apart and sand it. Thanks everyone for stopping by, and stay tuned for part 3.